What's up everybody? Today's video is going to be a video on drill bits and screw bits. It's just going to be a video talking about all the different drill bits that I like and also the ones that I don't like. So we're going to start by talking about screw bits. Personally, I do not know what you call these. These particular ones are called impact bits, I believe, but I have no idea what you call regular ones. So, when it comes to screw bits, I use the Torx 20 and 25. Those are the ones that I use most. Occasionally I may use a Phillips number 2, and maybe I'll use a number 10 Torx. So, my favorite screw bits are the Bosch impact rated bits. They're very durable. This bit has done probably over 1,000 screws, and we'll compare it to a new one. Hope that's focused. But they last for a very long time. I have not broken one. So I have this row of the Torx. I have a few long ones. These are double-sided, so you can put them in your impact driver like that, pull them out, flip them around. They are the same. They are the same on either end, but you get two heads on one. And then I also have this kit that has all kinds of Phillips, Torx, Torx Square or Robertson or whatever they're called. This one I got off Amazon.com, so that's why there's all the Robertson or square drive bits. You can't buy square drive screws here, so I have this for the Phillips and the Torx, and it comes with long ones as well as inserters for your adapter. And you can customize these Bosch cases by simply pushing that, pulling it out. So those are the screw bits I like. Also, I have this Bosch set, which these aren't quite as durable. I have broken the two PZ2s. They do wear down a little bit, and I stopped using this as soon as I got the Bosch, the impact rated. But I still sometimes use the number 10 Torx and the Hex. One thing about this kit, I'll show you here. Comes with this bit holder, and Bosch isn't the only one that makes them. Other companies have them too. So you can hold your bit, and this part doesn't spin while the drill spins or the impact driver spins. If you're doing precise work, that might be very useful. Then I also use these Dewalt screw bits. These bits grip really nicely, but I don't know if they're impact rated. Obviously I mainly use the long ones, and it comes with a standard adapter. But like I said, these grip really nice. I'll demonstrate that in a few minutes maybe. I also, and this is a very useful thing because I can put any hex bit I want in this. This is a Black & Decker one, and it's also got a ratcheting feature, which I find quite handy. I use this mainly for taking tools apart and fixing things, also for maybe assembling IKEA furniture. Now, the bits that I do not recommend are any cheap ones, Ryobi, grocery store, no name. The cheaper bits, they break. You can easily wear them down, especially if you're using a powerful impact driver. If you're just using a drill, you might be able to get away with the cheaper bits. But I used to only use Ryobi screw bits, but then I got the Bosch, and I've stuck with the Bosch. But if you're only using them in a screwdriver or a drill, they may be alright for a limited amount of time. I also have other Bosch bits. These are, again, not that good. These are a different kind of Bosch bits. I'll show you here. So here's the standard Bosch bit, and I don't think Blue Bosch makes these. This kit you can get in a blue box, and it's the same, but I don't think you can really find these types in Blue Bosch. These are the cheapest Bosch, and then here we have the mid-range Bosch, and then here we have impact rated Bosch. So impact rated Bosch is black. Regular Bosch has a color band on it, and bottom line Bosch is just a standard looking bit. If you do get the standard looking bits in like a kit, they're okay, but I wouldn't recommend buying standard bits on specifically, especially if you're going to use an impact driver. So I will now demonstrate some screw driving just to show you how the different bits grip. So we are going to drive, I think these are 5x60 screws, and these are really crappy screws. I cannot use them. The head just strips out as soon as you try to drive them in. But we're going to use them because it will supply to test out the different grips. So we have mid-range Bosch, professional impact rated Bosch, Dewalt, and cheap. We're going to use the screwdriver on speed 1 and drive it into this 2x4, 40x60. We shall start with the cheapest bit, and it's not always the bit. Sometimes if you have a really crappy screw, you're not going to get a grip on it no matter what bit you have, because the heads just chew out. And I can't drive them all the way in, but I'll show you. See, it starts slipping. Now, I'm not pushing as hard as I could, but... Okay, now I am pushing as hard as I can. So that's the cheap bit, and you can see here, this was brand new, never used before. It started to chip the tip. Dewalt, I'm expecting a little bit of better performance from Dewalt. And I'll show you what the screw heads look like when I'm done this too. See, it starts to slip out. Not as well, there's still a little bit of chewed upness, but not as much. So this is the mid-range standard Bosch. Okay, the standard Bosch starting to chew down quite a bit too, so I'd say the Devolts are probably nicer. And now we have the impact rated Bosch, which I'm hoping to see better results, but I don't do these tests before I film, so we'll see. I could be wrong. So this one's slipping too, but the head is not wearing down. It's chewing the screw out, but the head is not breaking. So we'll see if we can get some of these out with the Bosch. And also the most mangled screw head is the one with the impact rated socket. Socket? Screw bit, not socket. Sorry, been pronouncing it wrong. So there you can see the screw heads. Cheapest Dewalt, regular Bosch, impact rated Bosch. So we'll just see if it can get it out now. Without slipping. The head has not got a lot of wear on it though. And this is the Metabo PowerMax BS12BLQ, in case you were wondering. There will be a video coming on this, but I've only had this for 2 weeks. So I haven't really had a chance to use it yet. So moving on to wood bits. Before we move on to metal bits, we're not doing wood bits next, we're doing metal bits. I'll just show you how good the Bosch bits can grip. So specs, torques, Bosch well-used tip. See? Didn't slip once. Now, mind you, this is a Torx, and personally, I will not buy, at least I try not to buy anything that's not Torx or Hex. Torx and Hex are my favorite screws. Robertsons or square drives are pretty good if you can get them, but we can't get them here. So moving on to metal bits. Not going to show you any metal drilling. Just zoom in here so that you can see what I'm talking about. So when it comes to metal bits, hold on, I have to gather them all. So I've had this Ryobi kit for a while, 11 years to be exact. The drill bits in it never really were that stellar. I do not recommend buying cheap drill bits. Some cheap drill bits are easier to get by with than others, but one of the two places where I'd say expensive drill bits are most important, it's always important to buy good drill bits, are with metal and concrete, or stone. So, as we can see, this kit comes with a whole pile of gold. Where's the other? Yeah, gold metal bits. Never really tried drilling into metal with them, but considering that they could barely drill wood, I don't think they drill metal that well. I'll just pop one out. Crusty. So we have an expensive, well, mid-range 10mm metal bit right here, and this one actually drills. The cheap metal bit will drill too, but I'm gonna try and compare the tips, the bite here. If it's blurry, I apologize, but so see on this metal bit how you have your sharp tip here, you have your nice blade, you have a good cutting edge up here, whereas with this metal bit you do not really have the same cutting edge. So that's when it comes to metal bits, you need to buy ones that have a really good cutting edge, a very sharp cutting edge on them, and also you kind of want to have a pointed at the end, so that when you tap your hole with your punch or whatever that thing's called. You can center it in your hole, and also if you've already drilled a smaller hole, like with thicker steel, you would probably drill a 6 mil and then your 10 mil. You'd want this to go direct perfectly into the 6 mil with 2 mil on either side. We have a few small metal bits here, and the smaller the bit, it doesn't really matter if they're good or not. Then here we have a Tivoli. I think it has a name, what they call this. No, but it's a Tivoli made in France. And this is a really nice bit. This one really does a good job at cutting. Like, you can go through 8mm steel like butter with this thing. Of course, you have to pair it with a good drill and the correct speed. This drill works really well on first speed. The 450 RPMs puts this in really nicely. You could use a 2-speed drill, but it would probably be best to put it on first speed for drilling with metal bits like this. I don't do a lot of drilling in metal. I just know that the nicer bits, normally more expensive ones, cut better than the cheaper ones. Also, in here we have black metal bits. I've never drilled metal with them. They drill wood alright, but I don't know if these black ones would hold up to the metal that great. Although you can't go by color, because I'm sure there are some very good drill bits, metal drill bits that are black. So now we're going to talk about concrete. Again, that Ryobi set has concrete bits in it. I'll get one out to show you. 5/16 I believe is around an 8 mil. I don't have good concrete bits here. Oh yes, I do. I have a wrist. This is a wrist bit. The wrist bits are nice, but I believe it's the Bosch that are nicer. I was using a very nice concrete bit the other day. Of course, all the markings were chewed off. But the other day I had to, because we live in a stone house, I was drilling into stone. And I was using this 8 mil bit, because for putting hanging pictures and stuff, you use 8 and 6 mil plugs, so 8 and 6 are the best ones, in my opinion, to have for regular work. So here we have the bottom line Bosch. It's got a nice tip on it, but the spiral is not at all nice. As we can see, it's just, there's no cutting edge on it whatsoever. This Dexter is a little nicer. As you can see, the actual bit's wider. These are both 8 mil bits. But again, I had this in my hammer drill, and it was just not going into the stone very nicely. I got out the Bosch, and the Bosch was missing a tooth. There was only one tooth, and it went in way faster than this one. It was a special Bosch though, with like a couple different spirals going around it, and nice cutting edges. Here we have a wrist. This is one step below what the Bosch was. As we can see, the actual bit is almost 10 mil wide. The head is not like the Ryobi or the Bosch. This is a Ryobi. Again, no cutting edge on the spiral and a wide head at the front. This wrist is much nicer. And if you're buying concrete bits, first of all, get ones that are actually made for hard concrete. Again, maybe with smaller bits, you might be able to get away with the cheap ones, but the problem with concrete bits is they wobble all over the place if they aren't made very well. Like these guys tend to wobble a lot, whereas this one goes in. So definitely check out the Bosch concrete bits. I don't know what they're called, but I know that there's a name. The wrist concrete bits are nice. These Dexters, yeah, they're okay. And the Ryobi and the Bosch, maybe if they've upgraded the Ryobi bits, they might be better. I don't know. So we're gonna do wood drilling. Oh, and by the way, I do have a review on these. I'll put it in the description. So now we are going to do countersinks and tapered bits. So when it comes to tapered bits, I have a review separately on these two, but I use the Dewalt rapid load bits. I have 6, 8, and 10. I use the 6 the most. They have this nice big Allen key for moving the countersink up and down. There's no stop on the countersink, but it tends to stop as soon as it makes it full size. Here's a bit without it, and you can move the countersink up and down the bit. A tapered bit means that it goes down to a fine point, and if you're drilling pilot holes, I definitely recommend using tapered bits even if you don't use the countersink. Tapered bits, first of all, are much longer, but they'll make a much nicer pilot hole than like one of these. The other nice thing about these rapid load bits, and I think that's why they're called rapid load, is you can just put them in your impact driver. I actually bought the second 887 because when I'm making chicken coops, it's so much nicer to have this one in the impact, so I bought a second 887 to drive this one while using the other 887 for the actual driving screws. I don't have a really good countersink, but this is the countersink I do have. As you can see, it's got quite a few teeth, and actually this one is really nice, but it just doesn't really make screw head sized holes. I'll demonstrate here. Hold on, gotta clear space. As you can see, the hole is rather big, especially if you're like look at the size of the screw head compared to the hole. But it's good for rough construction and stuff where you need a pilot hole, a countersink, but you don't want to have to get out a special bit. I will be getting more countersinks because sometimes it is nice to just drill your little tapered hole and then drill a countersink, and I certainly have enough drills to do both, to have both setups. My picture at the moment, my what do you call that? The picture of my YouTube account is a picture of all my drills and impacts. Now we are going to get, one more thing. For drilling plastic, any metal bits will do. I wouldn't say don't use the brad bits, but any metal bits that have this shape will do. Any wood or metal bits that have this shape will drill plastic. So now we're going to talk about wood bits, which is the last subject. Oh, and also screw bits, I have the Black & Deckers too. They do not work very well. It's very easy to chew them out if you're using an impact, but they work okay again. The Black & Decker sockets are alright. So now we'll get on to wood drilling. When it comes to wood bits, there are many different kinds of bits. There are brad bits, self-feed spade bits, Forstner bits, standard spade bits, which, buy self-feed. giant brad point bits. There are the non-brad point bits that look like metal bits. Then there's spiral bits, and I'm sure there are many other kinds. I just can't remember them at the moment, or hasn't heard of them. So we're going to start with brad point bits. We have two examples here. We have a standard brad bit, cutting edge, 3 points, point in the middle, spiral. These they cut all right, but these brad point bits, these are more well, they aren't any more expensive, but they're a better brand. So this brad bit has the 3 points. The point in the middle is a little beefier. The cutting edge is beefier. And the cutting edge is sort of raised above the spiral. Oh, I'm not even. The cutting edge is beefier, and the cutting edge is sort of raised above the spiral. These work really well, although they do dull. Again, I have Ryobi and I have the Bosch, the bottom line Bosch brad bits. Brad bits, you want to get really nice ones. Like, here's a brad bit. As you can see, it's a really big one. This is just a big one of this. When I put it in my drill, hold on here. It barely drills, and it didn't even drill when it came out of the box. This is a 14 millimeter, by the way. So you're in luck. I use a lot of these 9 millimeter brad bits, and this is a 10 millimeter, but same company. Fisch. Fisch. I don't know. So this one has been used a lot. It needs to be replaced. This one is a cheap one and has been used even more, 9 mil. I have a brand new 9 mil. So we're going to do a little comparison between the brand new one and the, see, brand new. All the black is still there, just to compare. We're going to do a comparison between the cheap one, the used good one, and the brand new one. We're going to use the 796, so 2000 RPM. Let me just zoom in here. So this is the cheap one, then we'll do the old one, then the new one. I'm going to try and push the same amount on all three. As you saw, the expensive new one did it a lot faster than the old used one. And apparently I hadn't used this one that much. But still, these more expensive bits cut a lot better. Let me just zoom out here. Not in. Out. Also, I have the Dewalt Hex brad bits. This is an 8 mil, but these aren't quite as nice as the Fisch, but they're pretty good, and you can put them in your screwdriver. And your impact driver. So that's brad bits. Forstner bits, if you have deep, big holes in softwood or even hardwood, Forstner bits are really nice. Especially if you want a nice result, like if you're making a project or something that you don't want to be all torn up, it'll be a lot nicer than using spade bits. This spade bit is a Wolfcraft, I believe. Yeah, Wolfcraft, 25mm, and it says max 1800 RPM. So yes, when you're using Forstner bits, 2000 RPMs on your cordless drill might be the most you want. You might even want to put it on speed 1, or if you happen to have one of the Dewalt 3 speeds or Metabo 3 speeds or any of the 4-speed drills, you could put it on second speed. Personally, I don't know why Dewalt only has one drill that has the 3 speeds on it now. But yes, see, this one has a point in the middle, has a blade on either side, got a nice angle on it, and then it's got teeth. So it's cutting as it turns, not just as it scrapes. It cuts here as well. This is a nice brad point bit. It's better than some of the other ones I've used. Then we move on to self-feeding spiral bits. Now these are the kind that you'd use if you had to drill a bolt hole through beams, or even if you were, I know electricians sometimes use these, and these you sometimes want to use a slower speed on. Like, we have an 8 and a 12 here. I'll demonstrate with the 8. Just put it in my drill. So speed 2 first. And now we'll switch it down to speed 1. See, speed 1 may not go as fast, but it actually drilled faster. I'll show you with the 12mm. Sorry if this video is getting a little long, but didn't want to have to make multiple videos. I don't know if this is going to be able to do it on... Can do it on second speed. But why this one went faster on second speed? You did see the drill bog down, but that's because the screw up here is really aggressive. So, just to show you the tip on this bit, there isn't really any cutting edge as you go up, but there's a nice big space for chips. But here's your cutting edge, here's your screw, and here's your blade. And yes, these things do get hot. Don't touch them after you use them. So the smallest I could find of spiral bits is a 4mm, and I'll show you, but they don't work too well, even on a low speed. Like, compared that to a 4mm brad point bit. I believe this is a 4. Oh no, that's a 3. It will go a lot faster with your brad point. See how much faster that was? So the last drill bit to talk about in this extra long video is self-feeding. I don't have any of the big, like 3-inch self-feed bits. Oh, I do have hole saw. So this is my 4-inch Wolfcraft hole saw. This is a really big hole saw. I used the DCD 777, which is Dewalt's mid-size, compact 18-volt drill. I haven't used the 796, but I think the electronics in the 796 would not allow you to do this. If you're doing this all the time, you need to get like one of those big right angle drills like the Milwaukee Super Hog, or something that's big. So we have just a standard tipped bit in the middle here, and teeth. These teeth are tapered out so that as you drill, your hole saw is not rubbing against the side of your hole. I don't use hole saws a lot, but there are many different sizes, and the Wolfcrafts are really nice. They have a big hex on the back, big slotted screw to take the middle bit out, which I have to do to get the thing out, but the Wolfcrafts are nice. So, last bit. So these are Bosch Daredevils. They are probably 20 years old. They have the screw like on the spiral bit. They have a cutting edge here, a cutting edge here, and as you can see, the cutting edge goes all the way up and is curved. If you're gonna use spade bits, these are the nicest. Then we have cheaper spade bits that have a point, and they have a cutting edge on each side, but no cutting edge up the side here. We're going to do a little bit of testing just for fun. So, if you're using a 12-volt drill, half inch is the most you're probably going to be able to do. I don't use spade bits a lot. We're going to see if the metallic Yep, it can. But I wouldn't do more than a half inch. I wouldn't even do any with a 12 volt. It's why you have 18 volts. So, I'll show you 3/4. I'm sure you've seen spade bits, these at work. Everybody uses these. So, half inch, again, Dewalt DCD 796. Personally, I say drills do nicer jobs with these guys than impacts. If you're using 2-inch or 50mm, I don't even know if they go that big, but anyway, using really big ones of these, you might want to consider using the impact just because it's stronger. Obviously, if you're doing like even 3/4 all day, you might want to get like the 996 or the Milwaukee Gen 3 or the big 3-speed Metabo or something with a bit more juice than these compact drills. But a half inch this compact drill can do on second speed. No problem. See? See? Now I'll show you with the standard spade bit. This one, it's a bit bigger. Also, what I don't like about standard spade bits is how much they wobble. I do not like that. So, we'll just go in right here. Lots of vibration. Doesn't drill as fast. Now, a lot of people like to use their impacts. And you saw how fast the drill did it. We'll just use the impact here. Speed 3, so 3,250 RPMs. We'll just move this out a bit. Impacts are nice, especially if you can only have one hand on the tool. Impact won't do this, but Bosch does put kickback control, and a few other brands put control so that if your drill goes like this, it will automatically cut off. And if you bind the Dewalts up, they will cut out too. So Daredevil with Dewalt impact. Very ugly hole, loud. If you want to reduce noise, you don't need to get one of those hydraulic drivers, you just need to use a drill. Standard bit. I have broken the tips off of these guys with impacts. Again, this was a cleaner hole, but it was loud. And this is actually a somewhat sharp bit. I wouldn't want to use a cheap, dull spade bit. And it's hard to get nice spade bits. You really have to buy good ones so that they don't wobble all over the place. And the Bosch don't wobble all over the place. So to sum things up, I know this has been a long video, probably half an hour or something, but anyway, to sum things up, if you're a DIYer, you do a little bit of drilling now and then. Cheap bits, okay, they may be fine, but if you use them every day, the more expensive bits are probably the better choice. I'm in France, so I only know the French brands. Dewalt is good, Wolfcraft is good. Bosch is always good. Like Blue Bosch, they make good bits. I use their jigsaw blades, I use their saw blades, their reciprocating saw blades, chop saw blades, drill bits, screw bits. I use a lot of Bosch accessories, and actually I really like Bosch tools. Like the Bosch reciprocating saw I have and the Bosch drop saw I have are extremely smooth. And I'm planning on getting more Bosch tools. When it comes to impact bits, Dewalt, they're okay. Bosch, really good. I believe Wura makes them. I haven't ever tried Wura, but I'm sure they're really good. Wihas, again, I'm sure they're good. The Makita, I hear good things about the Makita. The Milwaukee, I hear both good and bad things. I don't know about Milwaukee. I don't really hear about the Dewalts. I don't use the Dewalts or the Milwaukees. I use the Bosch. The Tivolis are alright. When it comes to spade bits, Bosch Daredevil, Irwin Speed Bore, or I believe Hilti makes these, and I believe, who is it? Another brand makes them. Someone else that makes a lot of drill bits makes them, and they're probably good. I use the Bosch. These guys, I just have the Dexter Pro, which is Leroy Merlin, the French Home Depot in-house version. Brad bits, I use these Fiche. They're pretty good. The Tivolis, they're also rather good. These are the cheapest that Seton, a French online hardware store for professionals. The Fiche is the cheapest one they have, and they're pretty good. They're the ones with the nice cutting edges. For weird bits like hole saws, Forstner bits, that kind of stuff, Wolfcraft is nice. I also use the Wolfcraft die grinder bits. They work pretty good. So yeah, Tivoli, Wolfcraft, Bosch, they're good bits. I don't have a experience with some of the other name brands. Like I said, I've done Dewalt Rapid Load and the Bosch bit reviews. I'll put that in the description. And if I get other name brand bits that I really like, I'll do videos like that in the future, so make sure you subscribe. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.